The British Virgin Islands' newest financial institution, Bank of Asia BVI Limited, is expected to be online this year. That disclosure was made to Bloomberg News by Carson Wen, founder and chairman of the BVI's soon-to-be newest banking institution. In reference to the correspondent banking crisis, which has severely impacted the banking relationships of several financial institutions and companies in the Caribbean, and particularly the BVI, the Bloomberg article entitled "Caribbean Haven Plans New Bank for China Billions Flow" starts out stating that, quote, "The global campaign against money laundering combined with the Panama Papers made the Caribbean islands of sun, sand, and offshore banking a near no-go zone for the world's biggest banks," end quote. The article continues further that the BVI solution is a bank to service offshore companies, many of them from China, that have been locked out of the global banking system by banks such as HSBC Holdings plc and Standard Chartered plc. The Bank of Asia BVI, an online financial institution, aims to target 200,000 of the over 400,000 companies in the territory who have been stymied in obtaining bank accounts. In that interview with Bloomberg, Bank of Asia BVI founder and chairman Carson Wen shared that the idea came about when Premier and Finance Minister Dr. D. Orlando Smith asked Wen for help when the two had dinner in Hong Kong in 2014. Wen charges that, quote, "We have a captive client market of all these offshore companies that have had difficulties opening bank accounts, not for their own fault, but because the legacy banks have stopped wanting them. We're helping China solve the problem that Chinese companies want their ability to remit money and do offshore banking. That's our captive market, meaning that people have nowhere else to go. They have to come to us," end quote. According to Bloomberg, the Bank of Asia BVI aims to be a landing place for money leaving China, while helping to restore a dwindling source of revenue for the BVI, which depends on incorporations for half of its budget. Bank of Asia BVI is the seventh for the BVI and the first to be licensed in 20 years. Wen also confirmed to Bloomberg that the BVI government had required $100 million in paid-in capital, but he was able to negotiate that requirement to $38 million because the institution will operate online. The Bank of Asia BVI founder and chairman further states that the launch of its operations has been delayed by BVI regulatory approval of its digital technology. Bloomberg says, according to Hong Kong Exchange filings, the money behind the Bank of Asia comes from a Beijing-based internet video producer and mobile phone lottery company V1 Group Limited and Wen's Sancos Financial Holdings. Meanwhile, Elise Donovan, director of the BVI House Asia in Hong Kong, told Bloomberg that the bank's license was approved, adding that 2/5 of BVI company incorporations are from Asia, and the bank's opening means the BVI can continue to support its endeavors in the region.